Do you guys even care by this point?
Do it!
Okay. Roll the intro. PayPal-sponsored review, ladies and gentlemen, and this comes from the author himself, donating 30 bones for me to review chapters 13 to 25. I might go an extra chapter, considering that chapter 25, let me look back at the actual damn count itself, considering chapter 25 is part 1 of a 2-part operation, so we will do chapter 26 just to have a complete thing. The things I do for you people, which means this video is going to be pretty damn long. So, grab some popcorn, sit back, relax, and let's get into, if my pronunciation is correct, from actually learning a little bit of Latin, thanks to my mother, who actually went to Catholic school. Eodem, Eodem. Fucking... Basically, Latin for the same, a rifle and sword adventure. Okay, I'll give the author that. That's actually pretty fucking creative. So, where did we leave off in Chapter 13? Chapter 13, the expedition is of course now being sent out to more or less do some reconnaissance and sort of look at what's going on, some energy sources essentially. And that's what they do, more or less, is the whole beginning of the chapter is just them looking for energy sources, sort of scanning for energy spikes. And they do find it, and they find a fucking zombie king.
Oh, hell no!
Okay, in reality it's a fucking lynch king, a lynch, necromancer, and all that good jazz, and we realize that the person is related to, of course, Iris, our little vampire lady. Again, that's not really what we're here for. Maybe you, but I'm just trying to keep this as short as humanly possible and get to the damn point. So we learn a little bit of backstory about Iris' family, and then all hell breaks loose when the orcs show up.
Seriously?
What?
I just heard you get hard.
So yeah, they're dealing with the orcs, and then you think that the kingdom would be on their side, at least this empire over here that's at the border garrison. No, not really. Much like anything in this world that was created by the author, everyone believes that we, the humans from outer space, are fucking diamonds. No, we're not, and it just... The battle itself is well written, the actual combat itself is well planned out, and I'm going to have to give creativity where creativity is in terms of magic versus technology, is that magic apparently does have the ability to act in a sort of electromagnetic field. Get enough mages together, you can disrupt communications and even disrupt communicative lines. So in a conflict situation, comms will be an issue, unless the issue can be resolved and communication can be established between the ground forces, logistical core, and of course high command, as well as everyone else. Again, the combat's good, it's just... So the battle is obviously won after, of course, they kill enough mages from the Empire, and after that, we then get into some war crimes.
No shit.
Yeah, war crimes more or less of... They don't want the Empire finding out what happened. Nor do they want the prince, who's been so kind to them in the region, to find out what has happened. Because, well, in the last couple chapters, they're going to basically give his sister the ability to walk again. So, with that said, here's where things get kind of fun. When I mean what I mean by war crime, I mean they are going to go to every single garrison base near the border and wipe them the fuck out. This does, of course, raise a lot of good moral questions and, of course, political questions, and even causes an emergency meeting between the civilian government, or at least the colonial government, and the colonial forces, as well as the forces of the United Federation of Earth, the UFE, or, if you really want to go old school, the United Earth Federation, the UEF. Basically, the Federation. Now, the big thing about this is that again, this is well written, this is well done, and yes, this is something that would happen. But it just... it's one of those things, folks. It is... I don't want to spoil much, I want to keep spoilers as light as humanly possible, but do know that because of the battle itself, the Lynch King, or at least the Necromancer, likes our redhead lieutenant, and sees a lot of himself in her. As such, the mana crystals that they were looking for, the big thing about this chapter is that we do get to see a little bit more of what is happening inside the other factions, the factions that are completely opposed to it and see us as demons. Because, again, they're idiots. Okay, they're not really idiots, they're just people who believe us to be demons. Because some old conjure had a fucking vision, and didn't exactly go into great detail about that vision, only saying that demons of metal shall take over the world, and it's like, okay, fucking how? Who provoked them? What happened? And the only reason that we're here is because... yeah, not really a lot in terms of logic, is there? Moving on. Because the chapter after that is then following the Elf Princess. The Elf Princess... more or less is learning about us, learning about our abilities, learning about everything else, and even the interpolitics to it. Again, each one of the chapters is actually really good because it's now planning a trip to one of our colonies that is owned by a mega corporation. But leading up to that trip is an elf princess who we met a while ago, essentially... oh dear fucking god. Trying to infiltrate our society and learn more about the demons. What she learns overwhelms her. The fact that our guy, who apparently is more augmented than anyone in fucking Cyberpunk 2077 or Deus Ex, tells her about the small things, but doesn't realize the culture shock it causes, because she learns about our nuclear weapon capabilities, she learns about our weapons being more powerful than anything any magic user or anything can do, because bullet beats magic any damn day of the week. And I know a lot of you are going to bring up, oh, what about magical barriers? Bitch! Silencers. Long range. Unless you have the ability to detect a 50 caliber sniper rifle, or a 20mm sniper rifle, or even 30mm anti-material rifle. I forgot sniper rifles, anti-material rifle. At miles away, when we can see your dumbass and you can't see us, and we fire that shot silenced at you. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, honey. Bullet beats magic. Any day of the week.
You damn straight!
She infiltrates the colony itself of New Albania. Yes, Albania, or Albonia, depending on however you want to pronounce it. And no, I'm not going to try and correct the pronunciation. I'm calling it the way I read it. I don't care. Everyone has their different pronunciations of the English language. The author happens to be Filipino. Moving on. She learns more about our society, is amazed by our technological marvels, our ability to just erect buildings out of goddamn nowhere, our machines, which they believe to be metallic beast, and then there's a druggie. Yes, there's a fucking druggie who tries to get drugs, because of course it wouldn't be a colony unless there were criminal elements, so joy.
Of course!
So, the big thing about it is that she learns a little bit more about us, and of course, in the interlude, as she's inside the colony, another group of spies known as the Crows tries to infiltrate the colony, however, are immediately gunned down or dispatched, and doesn't realize that we have the ability to see body heat even if they're invisible. Again, technology beats magic. Any damn day of the week. there is a lot of cool stuff that happens in this from a magical user's point of view. She still, the elf princess still sees us as quote-unquote demons, even though her demonic wards do not go off, which should have been the first red flag telling that the story that she was told, or the information that she was told, is probably not goddamn true, and probably we aren't demons. We probably aren't the ones that are going to bring the catastrophic fucking apocalypse. But then again, that would go against your theocracy and your monarchy and every single bit of your possible corrupt leadership, wouldn't it, you stupid, stupid bitch? Now, of course, things don't go as planned for her, because when the Crow, or at least a leader of the Crow sect and or infiltration team that tried to get into the colony, realizes, oh hey, no, it's just easy to get into the damn colony and just, you just gotta play nice, essentially. Play with our rules and we'll let you in and trade and do whatever you want. No, instead, she threatens the princess and even tries to say that she has become one of them.
What the fuck?
So, after that, she then tries to get her to go to one of our spaceships, or as she likes to call them, sky whales, or, our beasts that keep coming and going from the sky. Oh boy. So, the day of the transport is happening. The day of taking the young princess off to get her legs fixed, essentially, from the degenerative bone disease, via on a city that is essentially Night City from Cyberpunk 2077, minus the glitches and bugs and game-breaking glitches and bugs, is being taken off in a spaceship. And the elf actually is dumbfounded that this creature that she believes to be a creature is not alive. It's a contraption. It is a something entirely different. And again, I gotta give props to the author for that nice little bit of, actually good character development and trying to explain the world through a magical user's point of view. But then her idiotness steps in. Because she's inside the ship in one of the cargo bays near the observation deck. And of course, because we can't have a little bit of comedy, she then forgets to be near the door. Because, of course, it'd be hilariously smart to not be near the damn door. So that way when the thing, eventually goes into space, you could actually fucking escape. But no, she instead tries to damn near beeline it after everyone has, gotten out of there. And whacks her face right in the door as it closes, and then feels the G-forces as they go off into space. And just looks on as the little blue gem of her world starts going away. Bye-bye. Welcome to space, dumbass.
Did you fuck up?
So of course our elf princess is found and captured by our lovely lieutenant and is interrogated. Now obviously, because of being a horrible spy,
Hey boys, it's a spy!
the big thing about it is that the princess herself is captured, interrogated, and is threatened to be sent to Central Intelligence. And I know it's named otherwise, but let's face it, in any sort of sci-fi story, or any sort of story in general that has anything to do with Central Intelligence, intelligence agencies, gatherings, security bureaus, and or public security, it's essentially their version of the CIA goddamn A. And folks, the CIA is known for one of two things: starting and collapsing third world countries into communist uprisings or communist overthrows, and dubious means of torture that is either approved or denied by by Congress, or El Presidente. Oh, and number three, they're over-paranoid sons of bitches. Oh no. So after that's done, she spills the beans on what she was there to spy for, the prophecy and all that good happy horse shit, which tells the colony, and the colony immediately tells, of course, a colonial marshal. And while, yes, many of you may point out the colonial marshals of the Aliens franchise Yes, no. From what I can see, the Marshal here is essentially the semi-militaristic, think the Rangers from Fallout New Vegas. And yes, I do mean the NCR Rangers, where they can be a militaristic unit and or a type of law enforcement need to bring law and order to a very much so dangerous wasteland. And or the Rangers from the video game series Wasteland. Either way you want to slice it, essentially someone who can be a military, officially militaristic in need and nature, and act as a military soldier and or a law enforcement officer. So at that point in time, the Marshal, of course, does some pretty cool stuff, an interesting way of interrogation of the prisoners that they do have, and that is, of course, putting on a demon mask and start doing some Old Testament shit. Even quoting the goddamn Matrix.
Hope. It is the quintessential human delusion, simultaneously the source of your greatest strength and your greatest weakness.
I love this author to death, but by God, you could have gone with the agent scene.
Human beings are a disease. A cancer of this planet. You are a plague. And we are the cure.
I love The Matrix, okay, guys? I don't care if they're trying to push it as some stupid stupid freaking left-wing political bullshit. It's still a good movie series, even if it does have some clunky dialogue and does kind of get off the rails in the third movie. Correction, the second and third fucking movie. So after the interrogation, they find out exactly how they're going to be attacked. And I know a lot of you are probably going to sound off in the comments section, even the author's going to sound off in the comments section, and my Discord DMs. Why are you not talking about what's going on the planet and the Cyberpunk 2077 adventure?
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, I want to keep this as spoiler-free as fucking possible. And let's fucking face it, the adventure in the Cyberpunk 2077 world is a great fucking adventure and great character building and great character development, and I want all of you to go read the damn thing for yourself. I'm here to talk about the damn war and how the war is going to happen. So, let's get back to the war itself. Yeah, moving on. So, of course, with all this happening, they decide to go to the tunnels and take, of course, the Eldritch Horror and Abomination with them. Which, of course, is the Lynch King. Or Michael. King Michael. Whatever. Moving on. So they go to, of course, some tunnels that they have discovered through their interrogation of the captured soldier. Yes, I know. So, essentially what they do is they go to plant some explosives. Before, obviously, trying to talk for it peacefully. I mean, come on. We may be humans, we may be Earthlings, we may be absolute patriotic Americans who love doggos. But let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, we're still going to try peace.
Bullshit!
Bullshit! Bullshit!
Even though it was never an option.
Peace. Peace. I hate the word.
Peace was never an option.
So the plan, of course, is the tunnel to be collapsed, and, well, that is actually something I will bring up. They could have, and I know a lot of more strategic military friends are going to bring this up. They're going to bring up, of course, the fact of, well, why didn't they hold the tunnel? They could have used it to basically frickin' steamroll, a little flank. Well, that's if it was a standard military. But we're talking a 21st century, if not 22nd century, military against a primitive medieval military of J.R.R. Tolkien, or my bad, J.R.R. Martin, and of course, Tolkien levels of fantasy. If not D&D, and of course, other fantasy, magical cocksuckery. The big thing about this, though, is that, well, it works out pretty well at trying to stall him. And then it all goes down fucking hill from there. And they just blow the fucking tunnels. And I know it is technically a militaristic loss, essentially, for both sides. But in terms of actually looking at it from the larger perspective, they have orbiting fucking platforms that they can bombard the hell out of these motherfuckers with. While, yes, I know, technically speaking, we have not seen orbiting military platforms with either MAC and or kinetic basic weaponry or anything of that nature yet, it is still somewhat of a idea that can be used for a future militaristic operations and engagements. So, again, we'll have to wait and see. But the tunnel collapsed, of course, that does make things a little bit easier. The ROE and or rules of engagements were no survivors. I.e. no witnesses. Or, as Reznov would say, not Reznov, my bad, as, what's that guy's name from Modern Warfare 2? I'll just play the clip.
Remember, no Russian.
Yeah, that. It is essentially making sure that there are no witnesses. However, sad to say, there are some fucking witnesses, as more than a handful actually survived. About a dozen or so, give or take, did survive the collapsing tunnels. However, they come away wounded and beaten and morale low as can be. And let's face it, that's how it is. Especially when, again, Tolkien fantasy versus Infinite Warfare. And/or Battlefield 2142. Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk military. Let's go with Cyberpunk military. Or Militech, whichever one you want to go with, of course, in terms of lore and... But moving the fuck on. Plans are then in place, of course, to prepare for a signing ceremony. A ceremony which is going to, of course, be a sort of friendship announcement, basically from our side, from the Federation side of things. This is an alliance, a strategic political move to show that they aren't these supposed demons or diamonds, as the Warhammer 40k universe likes to use in terminology of demonology. And to the other side, it sees that this person has been corrupted by demonic or diamond spells and magic and have to get in the witch hunters and of course expel the heretics and the heresy and get the witchfinder generals and basic moronic idiocracy. Of course, there is a huge party plan to introduce it, a sort of cultural exchange. And sadly, the other side is going to try and go after Governor White, Jeremiah White, who is the governor, the colonial governor of this colony. And then their mindset, if they take out the quote-unquote alpha demon or alpha diamond, they're going to cause the other diamonds to run away.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
What the fuck?
That's not how it works, honey. Sorry to say. Here's the thing. Any sort of militaristic warfare, if it was a militaristic leader, yeah, no, that would totally work. For about a few seconds, until the military immediately starts doing it again, because with the modern military, you have the leader, you have his officer cadre, you have their cadre, and then the commissioned officers, non-commissioned officers, and then, of course, the squad leaders. And, or, you know, just, there is a fucking chain of command. And just because you take out one part of command does not mean that one portion of its command is going to take over. Take out one guy, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a hindrance, but the other commands are going to take over in that in that position, essentially. There is going to be... Chain of command happens, the works for a fucking reason. But here's the thing, this is a civilian governor. A civilian, not military. And while in your mindset, and I fully respect your mindset, that this is supposedly an alpha diamond, what you're going to do is create a martyr. Because if you do take out Governor White, and you do successfully kill him, you're going to piss off the entirety of the Federation. You are going to essentially declare war against the entire Federation, against billions of lives. billions of people, if not trillions of people. So, yeah, no, you're just gonna piss off an anthill, you stupid son of a bitch, and we're just gonna come in full-on fucking guns a-blazing Starship Trooper style, and start dropping in troops and begin fucking lying into ya. But then again, these are simple-minded people, so mansplaining it to them ain't gonna do shit, now is it? But speaking of the party, how does that go?
Ah, boy, here we go.
You see, this is where things get kind of fucky-wucky, because their big plan and all is a chemical attack on the peace conference, the peace ceremony, just... Oh boy, this ain't gonna end well. So, here's what happens. The Crows, or this sort of spy organization, essentially attacks the peace conference with a chemical attack, and they try to use illusionary spells, invisibility magic, yada yada yada. Except, here's the thing. We have thermal vision. We have all these different types of lenses and things that allow us to see every single form of any sort of visual field under the sun. Especially with 21st or 22nd century level of technology, we can essentially see goddamn everything in the visual range. So, of course, this doesn't go well. While, yes, the attack does happen, a la Modern Warfare 3, the sniper shot, which fucking misses twice, mind you, from our good old-fashioned cowboy, our little ranger, doesn't hit the target. Instead, it misses the Crow, who has a crossbow, custom-built, mind you, and her attacks instead land at the band. And sad to say, it's still... the governor and the prince does still inhale some of the poison. Not good, mind you, especially the fact of, well, this just causes a fucking shitstorm. The entire city is now under martial law, and of course firefights are breaking out all over the damn city. And I say firefights, in reality, I mean goddamn turkey shoots. Because while, yes, there is still some injured personnel, not as bad as you would think. 1 fatality and 16 injured. However, the Crow in question that did the shot, of course, talks with one of her people, they change faces, etc., etc. Basically, body double takes the place of her. And, boy. The aftermath is where things get kind of fun. You see, they have to now find a cure to this thing, this poison, essentially, and their best bet is the princess, who they allowed to run away and basically inform her people until they find out, oh yeah, her heart is kind of mechanical now. And, oh my god, you gotta read this yourself, because it's a great little bit of the ignorant scale of stupidity and types of zealousness, but essentially Isaac from, of course, The Division, because why not, shows up, informs them of what's going on, and they find the elf, they get out of there in a hot extraction, a tree falls on her leg, they have to cut her leg off, kind of like Battlefield 4, that scene, and it just keeps building up from there. It just keeps going from there, essentially. Because then the stakes are even put any higher, because then she has a moral quandary and all this other stuff, and character development, character development, character development. And it's through that character development that we actually see a little bit more of the princess, and it's honestly kind of fun, because the princess herself is starting to kind of question whether or not the prophecy was actually true, or if any of it was actually true. But that's just how the moral game goes, I suppose, and how the whole religious interpretation goes. I mean, it's like trying to interpret Revelations, trying to say, oh, you know, or Nostradamus's, you know, predictions, and etc., etc., etc. Moving the fuck on. So now we get to, of course, the aftermath. In the aftermath of the attack, interrogations are held, and even more questions are asked. But the big one, of course, is whether or not the elf can cure them. And she does. but again is sort of faced with moral quandary. But I'd rather let you read that and sort of get more character development as to why she's now attached to, of course, the lieutenant, the LT, Rose's squad, alongside Iris, our little vampire witch, vampire waifu. Aftermath, in terms of politics and military, is where things get kind of fun, because they do bring up actual history of the Meiji Restoration, where Japan was forcibly opened to the rest of the world. This little isolation hermit kingdom has been opened, and they try to essentially modernize to their peers. And I'll be honest, it's kind of a good analogy. I mean, let's face it, essentially the kingdom they are messing with is a vassal state. Yet, they are going to modernize. Prince Clovis, or Clover, what have you, essentially wants to modernize his kingdom, or let's bring it up to the standards of the Federation. And the Federation is more than happy to be an ally to them, and more than happy to help them out. And of course there was this nice little chapter with the Talent Scout, looking around for these people, including a very sexy orc woman who is just thick. But muscle girls aside, and muscly waifus, of course, and Amazonian girls. We're talking about the war here, and the war does take a step up, because it is a self-fulfilling prophecy of them basically being wiped out, because their dumbasses are the reason why they're about to be wiped out by good old-fashioned America. Well, not only America, but Federation, essentially. The Federation policy, to the nth degree, of course, is gunboat policy, except, of course, much more harsh. Because the gunboat policy here is to go to this empire who, thanks to the interrogation of the crew they captured, did in fact initiate the attack. So they said, you know what? Fuck it, let's bomb the hell out of them. And they do. They bomb the hell out of them and tell them that because of their unprovoked attack, they are giving them 1 month to meet them at the political table, to discuss politically, and to essentially open up their borders to the Federation. And if they do not, it will be seen as a hostile act. And oh my god, you know, when you see a massive fucking ship over your city bombing the hell out of you, and they tell you how much you fucked up, you'd think that maybe, fucking maybe, you wouldn't fuck up anymore. No, they're still fucking up. And chapter 26 ends with the king, of course, the emperor, while, of course, expositing possible future allies for the Federation. Oh, dear God. Saying that they will raise their legion and that they will attack.
Excuse me, what?
Or at least that's my understanding, because this idiot, of course, didn't really realize that, oh, hey, yeah, no, we can bomb the hell out of you anytime we fucking want. And again brings up my, once again, goddamn point. You are dealing with a highly advanced organization, a highly advanced civilization, while yes, dealing with fucking mega corporations and corpos who are probably conducting frickin' corporate wars and proxy wars on our damn planets that they own or are fighting to own, essentially, from their other corporate allies and other corporate rivals and shit like that, a la fucking Blade Runner and frickin' Cyberpunk 2077 and any other science fiction world that have the ability to perform, if not have, an orbital battle platform, an orbital station over your damn planet that can essentially bomb the hell out of you from goddamn orbit. And yet, you think that with your magic, your legions, and just overwhelming numbers, think that they can do the job to overwhelm these people.
I have several questions.
You are an idiot. Or better yet, as Nostalgia Critic says it,
Dumbass! 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 How much of a dumbass are you? In fact, if you look up dumbass in the dictionary, you'll find a picture of... well, should be you in there!
yeah, you're a fucking dumbass. But, either way though, I am looking forward to actually checking out the later chapters, because again, I know I've been slacking on this, as well as America, Another World, and other books that I've been meaning to review, but do know now I will be doing it. But, till that day comes, next time, ladies and gentlemen, besides, of course, this being a PayPal sponsor review, which thank you to our PayPal sponsor, Starhack, the actual author of this book, essentially, and I'm not going to try and fucking say the Latin word because fuck that shit. I'm just going to call it a rifle and sword adventure here. Thank you for your donation, and of course PayPal sponsoring this review. If you guys want me to review a book, or you want to actually sponsor the review itself, there will be a PayPal link down below, and, well, all that good jazz, essentially. But, either way, thank you all for watching. As always, I've been Airsoft Al, and next time, well, Airsoft Alex, I should say, and next time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking a look at another fanfiction, Has Been a Hotel this time, where what happens when Vaggie and Charlie become mothers to the boy who lived. And it's going to be an emotional roller coaster, ladies and gentlemen. It really is.